Betor, kin to all, 2 white, black, and a green for a 5/7 legendary creature spirit dragon with flying. At the beginning of your end step, if creatures you control have total toughness 10 or greater, draw a card. If you have total toughness 20 or greater, untap each creature you control. And then, if creatures you control have total toughness 40 or greater, each opponent loses half of their life rounded up. So remember, you do activate all of them if you have 40. You're going to draw a card if you're at 10. If you're at 20, you're going to draw a card and untap. And if you're at 40, draw a card, untap, and finally, cut your entire opponent's life totals in half. Alright, so diving into what similar commanders can we pull from when we're building Betor, right? So like Astarion will give us good ideas on how to take full advantage of the lose half your life and then now double that, so then you can actually kill your opponents. So Astarion decks will give us good insight onto how to actually finish the game. Disa the Relentless, a wonderful idea from a community member, trying to focus on star creatures. So instead of just doing your typical toughness typal, we actually went a little bit different and tried to go for star abilities. Star abilities, power and toughness equal to whatever, ends up having more toughness on the battlefield than a toughness typal deck. And then lastly, Pride of the Clade is another deck that is already about counting toughness. So we're gonna pull some toughness cards from that, since they're all about just going like, okay, do I have enough toughness to reduce the cost of my commander? They're already doing that in that deck, so we're gonna try to see how the cards in that deck help in this deck here. Next we ask, who wants this commander? People who are trying to build like the truest pillow fort, right? Like it's not just your typical mono blue pillow fort where you're countering everything. This is an Abzan sand castle that's trying to weather the storm and then end up on the other side with your opponents drained of all of their life and you're just sitting there looking pretty. So anyone who wants to build the truest pillow fort, people who want to be like pacifists, dealing no damage but just draining all of your opponent's life, people who like the Paragon path in all of the RPG games, and basically sandcastle competition winners, I think are going to love this Betor deck. Next we look at what the commander specifically wants, right? So like Betor, what do his abilities say that he wants as the commander? He wants big butts and no lies, right? He wants cards that can hold the line against the relentless onslaught of your foes, right? So if you have a 2/1 with Death Touch and First Strike, that's going to be just as good as any creature with infinite toughness, because no one's going to want to swing into that. Anthems cut the amount of work we have to do down by like a lot. So instead of having to generate 10 1/1s, we could just do 5 1/1s in one Anthem. That increases the power that our tokens can do against any attacking creatures, as well as the toughness to get to the next level of Betor's abilities. Creatures with tap abilities will do great in this deck, whether it's like tap destroy, tap under the creatures, whatever, because Betor is going to untap them. So we do get like vigilance in a way, but we're never attacking. And then finally, wound reflection cards. We need wound reflection cards in order to actually finish out the game. We have a couple sources of that. There's only so many wound reflection cards, but yes, anything that says each opponent loses life equal to the amount of life they've lost this turn is going to go perfectly with Betor's final ability. So next we look at what the deck wants. What does the deck need in order to make sure Betor gets what he wants? So toughness anthems, just as long as the anthems improve toughness in some way, shape, or form, we're golden. Until end of turn buffs will be fine. Drain cards, if we just want to pain and drain our opponents, as long as it's not dealing damage, just, you know, loss of life. We're doing the pacifist run here. Star cards are going to be key to making this deck unique and flavorful. Tokens are just free real estate, quite frankly. Any token you make goes to the toughness that Betor needs, and if you add an anthem, it helps even more. So you don't need to put every single wall in the deck, you can just make a bunch of tokens. A couple of stacks pieces, right? Because we're not pressing people by actually attacking them to take their life down, we do need some stacks pieces to make sure that other decks don't combo out. We're not fully taking away their commander's abilities to function, but we do just want to slow them down a little bit. Some moats around our fort, so before they even attack us, they lose something for it, or they have to spend some mana, right? And then lastly, archers on the parapets, as I like to call it. So some cards that gain a lot of value being behind our defensive walls and are able to just snipe very specific targets that we need to be gotten rid of before the enemies either combo off or break through our gates. Alright, so on to the actual deck crafting. So this is Betor's any % pacifist speed run, right? So specifically, we're trying to deal no combat damage to any of our opponents. No damage, it's just loss of life, right? And we're trying to do it by having a bunch of toughness. So the first thing I wanted to look at was star creatures, right? Get some really good star creatures that improve the amount of toughness we have while still being able to put up a decent fight when our opponents attack us. So like 2 mana Bloomguard Mentor, great. As long as we're producing creatures, we're gonna have a lot of toughness from those creatures as well as from the Bloomguard Mentor. Daxos, guided, blessed by the sun. High devotion to white is going to lead to a giant amount of toughness. Same with Regal Bunnycorn. This expensive card, or formerly expensive card, is going to do absolute numbers in this deck. And then bigger things like Sarah Avatar or Soul of Eternity. Whatever our life total is, it's probably going to be enough to make Betor get over that 40 toughness hump, and it's going to wreak havoc on our foes. Next, we're going to look at the Anthem options that we have, right? Anthem of Champions is actually a really decent 2 mana card here because, again, instead of making 10 1/1s, if we just did 5 1/1s and 1 Anthem, it doubles the amount of defensive power we have and the toughness that we need in order for Betor to do what he needs to do. 1 Betor and 1 Mana Dork and an Anthem will get us where we need in order to just draw a card, right? So like that's just really peak right there. Flowering of the White Tree, same thing for 2 mana. Veteran Armorer will make sure that we have more toughness at all times, so even the star creatures will have higher toughness in attack, which does come into play for other abilities. Spear of Heliod is a really good way to say, hey, don't attack me, because if you do, you will lose that hand. Sometimes it's worth it. Our opponents should be attacking us, but sometimes they won't because they don't want to lose their creature. One of the best planeswalkers we have for this is a Johnny Goldbane. Original Johnny is actually really cool here. His +1 gain to life is cool, right? The -1 is basically an Anthem on your entire board. +1/+1 counters on everything is really great, and we can do it 4 times straight from the get-go. And hey, if we have enough walls up and he's able to -6, we have a Sarah Avatar like for free. Really freaking good. The next wings we really want to look at is Illustrious Wanderglyph and Tendershoot Dryad. Both of these through 1 rotation, right? We're going to get City's Blessing. It's going to be very easy. Through 1 rotation around our opponents, we add basically another 10 toughness to our side of the board. That's going to make Betor go like, oh, we're at that next level already? Cool. That was only 1 turn. Sweet. Let's start drawing cards. Let's start untapping creatures, and let's start draining life. And then really cool things like Unnatural Growth, just straight up doubling whatever our creature's toughness is, +1/+1 counter buffs, Anthem buffs, just double them all until end of turn. That will trigger Betor. And hey, big old finishers like Elish Norn will drain our opponent's board as well as increase our power. The archers that I was specifically talking about would be Intrepid Hero and Royal Assassin and other such cards. Being able to have guys behind our walls or pretty much at the top of it go, hey, that's a combo piece right there, get rid of it. That is a big giant dragon that's flying over us right there, get rid of it. So the threats to our our castle basically get taken out by these 2 and other options, and because you untap them at the end of turn thanks to Betor, we get to use them twice. Onto our stacks pieces, we have cards like Dampening Sphere, again, just to make sure that combo decks don't combo out. We're not trying to restrict them entirely, But if Dampening Sphere's there, we're not going to have an Is It Spellslinger deck just completely overrun us because we're not attacking, right? Same thing with Rug of Smothering. If they want to be able to do all of this, they're going to have to lose life for it. And that life is going to be very important once we start taking half of it away. If we're going to go against combo decks, at least we can draw a bunch of cards from it. If we're going to go against control decks that are drawing a bunch of cards, we're going to draw some too. And then Drana and Linvala just say, hey, activated abilities, you're doing too much. We know you're about to combo out with it. Let's just put the kibosh on that. And since we're messing with the untap ability of Betor, we have tappers like Giver of Runes, Amara Soul of the Accord, Enduring Vitality, which gives us the ability to tap our creatures, March of the Multitudes, or pretty much any spells with Convoke, and we give Convoke with Prop Room. Being able to tap all of our creatures, whether they're tokens or mana dorks, and then untap them with our commander allows us to keep on moving throughout the turns and still have our defenses up. My favorite spell, I think that's going to mess with like the whole tap mechanic, is Null Mage Shepherd. Tap 4 untap creatures you control, destroy target artifact or enchantment. That's huge for us. Next, we have basically like our different thick categories. So like thick with 1C is pretty much anything like 3 or 4 toughness. Arboreal Grazer is a good opener. This is a good mana dork. This gives us protection. Again, this stops combo decks from going off. And then Watchful Radstag ends up being a really, really good token generator, as well as pretty much always going to have 3 toughness going on. 2Cs is like 5 and 6. That's going to be, again, Runic Armor Sword drawing us cards, and Bedlock Tortoise giving us hexproof on our turns. Thick with 3Cs is going to be like 7 or more. Hanwar Militia Captain just keeps on growing bigger and bigger and bigger throughout the game. It's going to have at least 7 toughness for sure. Then Elish Norn Grand Cenobite, 7 toughness by herself, and then +2/+2 to our board. Yeah, we're gonna get to 40 real quick. And then the thickest in the thicket, as it were, Tree of Redemption is gonna serve the same purpose. Again, right before the end step with Betor, we swap. Betor sees that we have enough toughness, triggers abilities, untap, we can swap the life total right back. And Tree of Perdition is going to do double damage with the Wound Reflection abilities, because we're going to take people's life total away from them, and then Wound Reflection will finish them off, as well as do everything we were doing with Betor. And then lastly, the actual Wound Reflection cards. We have Warlock class, which we're trying to get to level 3 for, in order to, again, if your opponent loses life, they're going to lose that much life again. Bloodleather of Aclazotz, Asterion the Decadent, which is honestly the first card I thought about as soon as I saw Betor, and then the titular Wound Reflection itself. I'm going to use the Doctor Who version. At the beginning of each end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life they lost this turn. You just stack this ability after Betor's ability. And there you have it. That is the Betor any percent pacifist run. We're going to just no attacks, no damage, none of that, okay? We're just gonna sit here, stop people from winning. We're not gonna stop them from playing, okay? We're not that type of stacks, but we're gonna stop them from winning, and then we're going to just cut their life total in half over and over and over again until we double do it. So if you're looking forward to see any of these cards in action, I will be playing this deck on stream in the very, very near future, and you can follow the Moxfield link down below, see if it inspires you at all, and please check out CoolStuffInc.com if you're looking for any of these cards, because you're just like, wow, Betor's about to come out, I need to pick these up and play Kuro's list. CoolStuffInc.com using code Kuro will get you 5% off and support the channel. Really appreciate you. Thank you very much, chat, for helping me build this deck. Be sure to tune in every Monday and now Wednesdays for deck building streams just like this one. Alright, peace.